Hey guys, here's a quick tutorial on winter sowing. This is my first year doing it, so I'm trying it out. I've watched a bunch of videos and done research, so let's start. First, you'll need some type of cutting tool. You'll also need some seeds, and then I have some tape and a marker. I also like to wear gloves, and then the most important part, the soil. This is a mix of purchase mix and also some sand from the backyard. And then the most important part, the bottles. So what I'm doing with the bottles is I'm finding a point that is at least 4 inches from the base. It can be more, but then you'll need more soil, and cutting it in half while leaving one corner connected. So be careful when you're doing this, don't hurt yourself. And I'm sort of using the indentations in the plastic as a guideline. So this, as you can see there, I left a corner and it's a bit like a hinge. So after you've cut all your bottles in half, now we're going to add in drainage holes. So you can do that a couple different ways. What I'm doing here with the box cutter is starting off a hole through the plastic, and once I've got about 4 holes there, I am taking my next tool, which is a screwdriver, and puncturing a hole through that. An alternative method is if you have some type of tool, or a hot piece of metal, you could heat up and just push a hole through and melt the plastic. It just depends on what tools you have available to you. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of the bottles that I have. Drainage holes are super important, so make sure you get that done. After that, I'm taking the bottles outside and I have all my materials laid out. So sand, I have some leaves, and I also have the potting mix. So I live in a pretty windy area, at least where I'm doing the winter sowing. And so I put rocks at the bottom. I know they take up space from the roots, but I can't have the bottles flying everywhere. After that, I'm layering on some leaves and pine straw just to provide a buffer between the rocks and also have some type of more absorbent material, since this area does not get as much rain, although it does snow periodically. After that, I'm adding a mixture of sand and also the potting mix, just because, again, in winter sowing, we're sort of setting everything up and then just leaving it there for months. And so you want to make sure drainage is really good. That way you don't get stuck with any root rot if there is a heavy amount of rain. So I'm pretty much filling up all of the bottles up to the edge, just leaving a little bit at the top. That way there's plenty of space for the roots to grow, even though I have the rocks at the bottom. Once you've filled all of the containers, now you should water it. I had some snow on the side, so I thought I'd be clever and water it with snow, but it took a while to melt. After it's melted and the soil is saturated, that's when you can start planting your seeds. And this planting process is pretty much just like planting any other seed. Make sure you know what depth you want to plant the seeds at, and then cover them up. Here I'm planting some snow pea seeds. Those do really well in colder weather, and that's pretty much what you want to focus on for your initial winter sowing. Because these are the first plants that are going to sprout in the winter, you want them to be able to tolerate some cold, some near or below freezing temperatures, and snow peas are a good candidate for that. Now I'm just covering up the seeds, sprinkling a little bit more of additional soil, and if you want, you can give them a good watering, unless you anticipate rain or something of that sort coming soon. So in my defense, I am also not very close to a hose, so I'm just using more snow, putting it on top. I want it to be cold anyway because I do not want these seeds to sprout too early. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of snow on top and then tape up the bottles. And essentially what we're doing is creating a little bit of a greenhouse. You do want air to go in and out and water to go in and out, so make sure to unscrew the caps, and this is where I have it set up. So that's my winter sowing, and I will report back if anything grows.